Good evening, my adroit dromaeosaurs. My most requested video has been a lore recap of Season 1, and I can't disappoint you. Thank you for showing up for me every time. So I decided I'm not going to do a basic lore recap because we have a timeline and recap in the game. There are plenty of content creators making recaps of the basic lore of Season 1, but I would like to go a little bit deeper and talk about the deep lore and the things that were easy to miss. The writers respect us and show us a significant portion of the lore. Most of it goes unspoken, and we are expected to make these connections ourselves. The goal is clear. Belle and Wise need to prove Carol Arna was not responsible for the fall of the old capital so they can be free again. They are forced to live in the shadows, and as bad as they are at keeping their faith and identity a secret, we don't even know if Belle and Wise are their real names. The writers are very consistent with the writing techniques they use to deliver the deep lore, juxtaposing characters, subtle jokes, and leaving clues about the things that are happening that the narrator is not privy to. The narrator is unreliable, which means the whodunit, how catch 'em aspect of the story will have clues and misdirection. We have to look at the actions of the characters, not the dialogue, to find the truth. There's a lot of stuff that's easy to miss and plenty of red herrings that need to be smoked. Starting with the prologue. It's messy, confusing, and easily the densest chapter in Season 1. It starts with Belle and Wise watching the news, then cuts to the cunning hares being the news. This isn't the inciting incident though. It happens off screen. The real one happens in Anby's character teaser and the lore teaser. The story starts by following the cunning hares in the events leading up to Phaethon's involvement in the overarching plot. This first comic is packed with foreshadowing. Bringer slips up on the news, the Defense Force takes orders from the reporter, not Bringer, and then we jump directly into Anby symbolism. This is the first time we see the use of time as a means of connecting the audience to the story. It pulls you into what's happening on a visceral level. I love this technique in film, and it works amazing here to show the actual time distortions of the hollows. It's nighttime, and by the time 6 seconds has passed and she's in the hollow, it is the middle of the day. We also know that Anby is generally foreshadowing something, especially when she's talking about a movie. When Anby speaks, we listen. Nicole commissions Phaethon to rescue Anby and Billy. They are almost immediately attacked by a hacker. The hacker's name is White Noise, and they steal Phaethon's account, not just attack the HDD. By the end of it, they get rid of White Noise, but they also lose their Phaethon account, and if Chekhov taught us anything, this has to show up again. We know that White Noise is most likely Rain because she takes the Tops commissions, was initially commissioned to get the strong box from the Red Fang gang, and she isn't able to do much until she gets an upgrade, and we see what happens when they get an upgrade. The HDD and Fairy are actually attacked. I also have a lore prediction that she gets Ghost between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, but it's not going to be revealed until she's playable. We do get more clues to support this in later chapters. We also learn that Belle and Wise are most likely able to make the fissures appear themselves, like a part of their special abilities, and one of the few pieces of plot armor that they actually have equipped. Now, I've talked about the vision in excruciating detail in the past, so please check out my other videos for how I was able to gather all of this deep lore. The hollow on the moon is falling into Hollow Zero, but not really, it just appears that way. The story is being told on tapes from a third party outside the timeline. Belle and Wise have more ether in them than the average New Eridu citizen, implying that they are most likely made of or heavily modified with the ether. They have a goal that is separate from clearing Carol Arna's name, and the audience still isn't told what it is by the end of Season 1. Wise says Ginny and Belle says Fairy here, implying those are the AI that they are going to get by the end of the story. And the other two will end up with different characters. They have a special power, and it is confirmed in the epilogue that it's connected to the multidimensional eye finality from the Honkai franchise. Later on in the story, if you pick Belle, Wise alludes to the vision directly, but Belle talks about it in reverse if you pick Wise. So he says that the Mirage Moon is going to fall into the hollow, and Belle says that the sun is going to rise from the hollow. This means she's connected to the sun and he's connected to the moon in the deep symbolism lore. This is also when they get fairy, and the same phrase is said that is in the lore teaser. It's also cut off at the same time. They say, together we'll make new Eridu. Please, I want to know, what are you going to do with new Eridu? So this also brings into question the two voices. They're confusing, and we know they're doing a routine activity. This is setting up a huge arc, and season 2 is going to cover the first half of it, which is a plot twist. The second half is an anti-twist that has already been heavily foreshadowed. So who do you think the narrators are? Now that the story is set up, Chapter 1 can establish some serious lore for Phaethon. They have a voice channel, so when they're too lazy to move their mouths, they can use the voice channel. This is also how they're able to communicate from inside the hollow. Their modifications are using the same technology as the HDD, making Belle and Wise profoundly connected to it and Fairy. This also means that the two other students will probably have access to the voice channel. If the girl is Sarah, then that has some heavy implications. If it's the woman in the early marketing, it could mean anything. And I still think that the guy in the background with the face burned away is the one that's melting in the graffiti outside of 404 Error. In this chapter, we also learn that Nicole has a similar special power to the main characters. Look at how this fissure is forming as the kid is stepping back. So now we have 3 confirmed characters, or well, soft confirmed characters, to create fissures in moments of immense distress or determination. Very similar to how Belle and Wise's other abilities work. After Sarah's plans are foiled, we see Bringer show up to the scene of the crime first. Now, he has to be there first so Sarah can quickly disappear and no one go looking for her. The Zero Zone is an important chapter because we get a whole bunch of juicy lore, but it's also the most misunderstood chapter out of all of them. The Wither Domain quest description says, the city known as Old Eridu once stood here, but the once thriving center of civilization has turned into a breeding ground for decay and death. We also get a little morsel of Shepherd lore. He is the only character in Season 1 to help Phaethon achieve their goals for the sake of it and not get anything in return. He makes sure that they are able to get into the Hollow Zero investigations and do it the real way, like the right way. They have licenses to do this. He does it proactively as well. We get Section 6 lore in this chapter. We learn that Miyabi is the youngest Void Hunter, and that of the 7 medals, most of them go unused. We will most likely see the other 2 Void Hunters if they exist, but we may also see someone get the Void Hunter status later in the story. It's a medal that the mayor gives someone who did a great act involving the Hollows. Miyabi earned hers by defeating Lerna, and she used her newfound political power to form Section 6. Their main goal is to stop the Hollow disasters, protect citizens, and investigate the Hollow Zero disaster that Belle and Wise are investigating. Another day at the video store is like an agent story for Belle and Wise. I hope we get one for each of them separately, like a real feel-good story, because things were not chill in this one. We learn more about them, their personalities, and how they handle the disasters. Before Chapter 2 starts, Vision loses the old metro renovation project. Belobog gets it, so now Tops is irritated, they're pissed, so they start harassing Belobog, and the attack from Asterism Industries causes them to commission Phaethon because what the hell is even going on there? Chapter 2 opens with Belle and Wise discussing the increased expenses of having Fairy. Her immense power consumption leads to increased bills. Her solution is to take the commission from Belobog Industries. We are first introduced to Anton, who is shown to be nervous, and I love that Belle has a taser on her at this moment. So sweet. Asterism Industries is targeting Belobog now, and we know they're a Tops company and have access to the Personality OS and the prototype because they're the company that Core's commissioned to make it initially. So at the time of the fall of the old capital, they were working on Pioneers Memorial Plaza. Why was the mayor and Tops equally invested in this? Well, we don't know, but we do know it'll show up at some point because Friday says he's the enlightened sinner and he needs to reinforce the seal because Kors told him to. Now, we learn that Kors is innocent and they find the receipt. Why didn't Asterism Industries say anything? Because, they had the receipt as well. So, this is one of those instances that feels like it should be pre-scene foreshadowing for Phaethon's story, but it's setting up a devious plot twist. This is reinforcing that Belle and Wise will find the evidence for Carol being innocent. I just don't think that's what's gonna happen, with this being a major red herring within the plot, but also it goes against everything that we see in the world building lore. We also see that G-Roy is activated by Kaleda saying his name. This is a huge part of the lore as well. It's the way magic works in ZZZ. Now, it may not be magic, whatever, but like, so far, we know the mages had to chant, the Exaltus want an ode to be heard throughout New Eridu, and the characters with special abilities are able to conjure their abilities quicker with sound. Oh, and Astra, she embodies this, and it's why High Ambitions will probably not let her buy out her contract. Chapter 2 Interlude is the first chapter that's mainly about the overarching plot. This is where Juyuan is actually the first one to figure out that Phaethon is Phaethon. It wasn't Qingyi. Denial is a river in Juyuan's head. We also get confirmation that Bringer is working with Topps, and we get the first hint that he's already joined the Hive Mind and the cult. This is why Topps is targeting him. He's a pawn in their schemes because he's already turned. It's revealed that he is the Hollow hero, and he changed drastically after rescuing Jiyuan from a Hollow as a kid by giving her his anti-corruption gear. At the end of the chapter, Sarah reveals that she doesn't work for Vision, but she's representing another organization. We get soft confirmation it's Topps, but in the epilogue and the Section 6 video, we get really solid evidence that she's working for Topps. Vision had to do several things to be allowed into the Alliance, and they usually send employees to oversee the companies undergoing tasks to regain their power or to join the organization. Chapter 3 is interesting. I found that as much as I got from it playing it through the first time, going back to it after playing the entirety of Season 1, I found a lot of lore that there was no way we would have understood or known at the time, like what its real implications were. Nicole still can't find Rain as this chapter starts. Turns out she's sending an SOS to her friends through the blank text messages. Fairy says there is absolutely no information at all on them, but we know because of her sarcastic tone that there is something there and she's just not sharing. The Hollows distort time and space, but the Ballet Twins Hollow has multiple sacrifice cores and the Ballet Twin ethereals. So we see like the most extreme examples of the distortions in these cutscenes. The ethereals are attracted to music, and Astra goes to the Ballet Twins Hollow in the Astronomical special episode because the ethereals are sensitive to music. The Ballet Twins are never defeated in lore, they just leave. So this confirms that all of the large ethereals have a symbiotic hive mind relationship with the smaller ethereals in their hollow. At the end, we see the recording is completely decrypted, and we hear Korza's voice, Bringer's voice, and a mysterious third voice that I think is the mayor, because when I compared them, they do sound similar and just different moods in the moment, but otherwise the same voice and the same word. In the special episode, Undercover R&B, we don't get a ton of deep lore, but it is setting up a lot of dynamics for the arc, with Commissioner Lowell's real goals being connected to Topps and the Exaltists. Perlman runs away to the Outer Ring, and very conveniently, the Sons of Caledon find him. They need Phaethon's help in the Torrid Inferno, and they both know Billy. This sets off the events of Chapter 4. The municipal election is happening at the same time as the Torrid Inferno, so Sons of Caledon use their connections with Billy to get Steel Tusk into the city. We know that Billy was in Caledon, never in Sons of Caledon, but because he was purchased by Caesar's father, they're kind of like siblings. I think it's very sweet. We also know that Lucius is colluding with the Ether corporations. Topps wants to control the Outer Ring because they would make a lot of money if people there were suddenly forced to rely on Ether for fuel and Ether technology. We see a lot of foreshadowing for Phaethon's rebirth. I talk about it at length many times, but for now we know that Vivian's vision hasn't happened yet, but it is a sign of impending doom. We know it will probably happen when we get Lucia in the story, so I saw the leaks. We also see a character named Dante. Talk about sadness. I'm gonna lose my mind and discuss my early game predictions when they show up, so please just wait for that. Oh my god, I cannot wait. I'm gonna be screaming. And we see the bird symbolism in chapter 4. White birds are representing the past and rebelling against fate, and the blackbirds are representing accepting fate, moving towards the future, and rebirth. At the end of the chapter, we learn Phaethon's main goal is to clear Carol Arna's name, and Miyabi's mother was lost in the fall of the old capital. She has a deep connection to it, and she is working on uncovering the truth about it. In the special episode, Virtual Revenge, we see Topps fighting Section 6 with Nullface as their proxy. The HIA hasn't been able to stop Nullface for years, so the two of them became targets and pawns. Topps is having the collab with HIA so that they can get Section 6 to take part. We know that Section 6 was formed in response to the fall of the old capital and Miyabi wanting to uncover the truth. We know that Harumasa knows that it's Topps companies behind it. Of course they want to attack them, and it was unsuccessful. In chapter 5, things get a little bit heated, and we see a continuation of Topps and their relentless attacks. This is where we get the biggest lore drops as well. Perlman left the evidence among the documents for the construction project. Belobog has them now. They also have a new employee who came from a Topps company at this point in the plot. This lore is in Kaleda's trust events. I'm sure it'll come up when Asterism Industries and the other Topps companies in Season 2 have a connection to what has already been revealed. We also find out that Sarah and Bringer are friends, and her asking the questions to him really has set up a redemption arc for her. I mean, the voice acting direction change shows us she's probably going to get one. She read as pure evil before, but now it feels like she's just there for a paycheck. We also get the Faith in I lore, and we see the fissure between outside the hollow and inside the hollow. Crazy. At the end, Bringer says, "Oh, you're her student." So Carol Arna is probably alive. That's a crazy lore drop to put right at the end. In the special episode, Astronomical Moment, we get a ton of insight into what goes on in Topps behind the scenes. We see the feud between Fugue and Odeon and how it led to Euron's death. But we also learn that Odeon's name was changed to Odium, reinforcing that High Ambitions or someone in High Ambitions or the owner of the company is worshipping the Hollows or is part of the Exaltists. We also get organization lore, like it's called the Organization, and it's probably an intelligence company. Rain and Evelyn were adopted by the organization and confirmed Rain has similar skills. Make her playable, Hoyo. Make her playable now. Take my money. Finally, I can talk about the epilogue. This is building a bridge between Season 1 and Season 2 while tying up any loose ends. We are shown how Topps and the Exaltists are definitely connected and working together. Whatever they worship is the actual big bad of the story. Ravenlock and Silver Company are used to illustrate the corruption behind the Topps Alliance. We get a little bit of insight into what's going on with the creator and the Exaltists with Bringer. We find out that he was turned and became a member of the Hive Mind before the serums. There's something special about him that has not been revealed yet. I suspect that it has something to do with his name being Justin Bringer. He has to be connected to Lady Sunbringer. Her name is not signed as an alias behind her in the lore teaser video. Another piece of on-the-nose blatant lore is that the Topps executive has the exact same motifs as Sarah. I find this to be confirmation that Sarah is working for Topps, not the Exaltists. Speaking of the Exaltists, Camille was destroying the failed sacrifices because she made a deal with the mayor. Well, if it was a failed sacrifice, it sounds like it was already destroyed. Just saying, guys, I'm just saying. What's the mayor actually up to? And finally, the biggest lore drop of all, Belle and Wise have special powers confirmed. They also go to the same type of mindscape as Miyabi and Harumasa. I wish they showed us instead of just giving us black screen and white text. It really lost the impact. I think it would have been better to show Carol Arna, but I do feel that that would have ruined another plot that they've set up. So let me know what you think. Did I miss anything? Well, I know I missed things, so you guys are smarter than me. You will correct me in the comments. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.